Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some crazy stuff going on in the travel industry and answer some of your questions just on this little live Saturday lazy, as it says, lazy lunchtime travel chat. Um, we're here on our Walter's World Shorts channel because with a smaller crowd, we can get to more questions and focus more on them. So we're trying to do that. But I think there's some really interesting news coming out of the travel industry. The Department of Transportation announced that the U.S. government is not happy with the U.S. airlines for all the delays that have been going on. I mean, it's something like 24% of all flights in the first 6 months of this year in the U.S., the domestic flights, were delayed. I mean, that's 1 in 4 flights. I mean, that's crazy. And then also something like 3%, 3.2% were canceled, which as much people talk about the cancellation of flights, it's only 1% more flights than before, but that's still a significant number of flights if you think about the number of flights we have in the U.S. all the time. So something to really think about going forward. Now, the thing is the Department of Transportation is actually on September 2nd is going to have on their website a nice place where you can go and see what all airlines, like what they're supposed to do, what they say they're going to do. If there's a delay or, for a domestic flight or a delay on international flight or cancellation, depending on how much time you get. So it's a little bit easier to figure out what your rights are because, a lot of times if there's a delay or a flight gets canceled, they're happy just to give you, we'll give you credit. So you get credit for another flight with that airline, where in reality, they might have to be actually giving you the option for cash and a full refund. So there are things going on in the travel sphere in that way that I think is improving and make it easier for travelers that are being affected by all these cancellations and delays that can really help out. Okay. So that's one of the big things I think going forward is going to help a lot of travelers because honestly, the craziness we had this summer with the delays and cancellations, it's not going to get better. It's going to get less bad over the fall just because the number of people traveling is kind of slowing down because you don't have the summer rush. But you will have these problems again, probably at Christmas and looking into next year. It might be next year too, just because the turnaround needs for the training for personnel, the hiring for personnel at airports and airlines will take a long time. So there is that. Hey to Marianne, Stuart, and Mark that are here. Mark, have a good time teaching, my friend. I just thought I'd hop on and talk about these. I saw a lot of stuff really going on that I wanted to talk about. And some of it's the bad travelers. Like, I don't know if they're from Australia or not, but in Venice, this tourist got fined $1,500 because he went surfing in the Grand Canal. I mean, surfing on a motorized surfboard, which I'm sure the guy thought was like super cool at the time and no one's going to mind this. But what you have to realize is those kind of things can be dangerous for the person doing it. And they may already, they may be a pro at it. But the thing is, when you've got the gondolas going by, and I know they're not on the Grand Canal, but you got the gondolas, you've got the vaporettos, those, the bus things and all the other boats going around, it can be a bit dangerous doing those kind of things. And so that's why they're not really happy. And also there's rules for those things. There's a reason why you don't have the paddle boats and all kinds of things in Venice trying to make more money, just because it's not something you really should be doing. So that was kind of interesting. And then of course there was oh no, I think that was the Australian. I don't know if that person was Australian that was surfing. The person that was from Australia, I believe, is the one that had the moped that was riding the moped around Pompeii inside the UNESCO World Heritage Site. I'm sorry, if you're doing that, you're an idiot. And if you have a camera filming you, all y'all need to be going and paying some big old fines for that because that's just insane. But there are some tourists that are acting badly, people. And I know we are all getting back to traveling again, and we've missed traveling, but you got to be, you still got to be good travelers, okay? Don't just be an ugly traveler, because what will happen is if you're ugly on those planes and you're ugly at some of those UNESCO sites, I mean, you can get banned from them, and if you can't fly with one of the major airlines, you're going to have some troubles, okay? So something to think about. Now, Super JC asks, hey, Mark, I'm vaccinated. I'm going to London, Amsterdam, and Stockholm. Do I just need my vaccine card with me? Any online forms to fill out or pictures to upload? I'm not sure what they have right now. What it might be is what I would do right now is take a picture of it and save it in your phone, because what will happen is you might have to upload proof that you're vaccinated, and that's about it. And so you just send that in, and your airline will probably send you a warning a few days before your flight saying, hey, we need you to upload those documents. So you might go on their website now and see if because they'll ask if you need it. They have to ask. But if you have it, I mean, I always take mine with me just in case. So if there is something when you're at the airport, you can just show it to them, and you can do that. So that would be one thing I would look at. They don't have the passenger locator forms like they used to. Well, some places do. I don't know where you're going to be flying in at, but that'll all depend. But yeah, there is that. Yeah, as Stuart says, it's a background checks as long as for staff to be trained at airports. Yeah, because you have to do the background checks, which takes some time. But when you're trying to rehire, a quarter of your staff that you let go over the last 2 years, it gets a lot more difficult. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you can easily, I can easily drink a big glass of water little by little, but if you put it all in my mouth at one time, it goes all over the place and it becomes a mess. And so that's where you're going to have some of those things. Regina, I'm glad we could help out with your trip to Paris. It'll be very nice. And we have more Paris stuff coming out, but I'm probably not going to help you very much since you already went. But I'm glad some of those videos can really help. Good to have, but also have the original as well, just in case. Okay. Hey, Mary Ellen, good to see you. So let's see, what are some other things going on in the travel sphere? One thing, if you're looking at the Great Smoky Mountains, one of the most popular, if not the most popular, one of the top visited sites, national parks in the U.S. Actually, I believe, is it next year is going to start having parking fees. So be ready for that. I mean, that's one of those things that they haven't announced exactly how it's going to go down, or at least I haven't found the stuff where it goes down, but parking fees will be coming in. That's why if anyone's going to be traveling to the U.S., it is to your benefit. If you're going to visit more than like 2 national parks, to get the America the Beautiful Pass. And basically what it is a year-long pass lets you get into any of the national parks, so you don't have to pay the fees to get in. And it's usually like you and a carload of people, so that can pay off. I know my last one mine expires I think in September, so you can get that when you're there, and it's very easy to do. You can do it when you're buying your normal tickets, like in your car going in. You go, hey, can I get America the Beautiful? So they can do that. So other things, let's see. I know I had a very good interview this week on ugly travelers, and that was one of the things. I just saw a bunch of ugly traveler news lately that's just kind of sad. There was one, somebody busted into, I think it was an American Airlines flight, into the cockpit and damaged the flight stuff. I mean, this is before they took off, so because all that stuff's locked up during the flight. But yeah, I mean, if you see people acting strange or like, and here's the thing is there's people that will act crazy on the plane, don't realize they do it, because sometimes what people do is they might have medicine because maybe they can't sleep on a plane, or they have anxiety for it and they do that, but then they throw in some alcohol to go along with it and things go crazy. And that's where you end up having some really big safety issues, and people, wake up duct taped to a chair and they're like, what the hell happened? You need to be careful. If you're one of those people that have to take, I don't know, it's Ambien or something, I don't know, to sleep, and then they drink a little, bad things can happen. So you need to be careful when you are flying. Iona, hello. Greetings from Tallinn. Tallinn, if you all looking for a place, Tallinn is a beautiful city to go to. Highly recommend. If you're going to the Baltics, is by far the best of the 3 capitals of the Baltics for travelers to visit. I mean, for me, if you're looking at Northern Europe cities, I mean, St. Petersburg, no one's going to St. Petersburg now, but St. Petersburg, Tallinn, and I would probably go Stockholm. Those are the top 3 to see up there. So always worth checking out. Thanks for dropping in. Other things, let's see, what are some other travel news that's going on? The sorry, I just got a private message on the side. That was weird. I never saw that before. Another thing I think is important when people are looking to travel, riverboat cruises in Europe are very popular. One of the things I got to tell you is with the droughts going on in Europe, you are seeing that the river cruises, they're not happening. Or if they are happening, you might be taking a bus between the destinations now, because the river level of the Rhine and some of the other rivers are so low that the boats just can't get through. And first and foremost, the Rhine is for transportation of goods, and then it's like tourism is a secondary thing. So they're going to make sure that the production goods are going to get through first before your tourism stuff. So if you're looking for river cruises for the rest of the year. I mean, I don't know unless we get some rain and good snowfall this summer. This might be affecting next year's river cruises as well. You might want to look and see if you're going to use Viking lines or Norwegian or whoever Circle Lines, whoever's doing the river cruises you're looking to. Make sure you're checking to see what is their policy. Because some people look, I don't want to do the bus to different towns. I want to be on the riverboat and do those things. You might want to look into that and see if they have a way out. If there isn't a refund or something, because I know there's certain cruises, like you might do a cruise in Egypt, which actually you're only in the boat like 4 nights of your 10 nights. So it's actually not really a river cruise or a boat cruise. It's more like just a tour that happens to have a few days on a cruise. So that's something to really look at if you're looking at places. And also, that's one of the things they say is don't always think that a cruise is always just a cruise. That's why it's important to really do your research and see what's really on offer with those lines. Let's see. Other thing in the cruise news, a lot of cruises are starting to just completely get rid of their testing policies, or they're going to the next month. So that's opened up a lot. So a lot more people moving back into the cruising sphere of traveling around, with the CDC changing its recommendations for what to do with people that are in close contact or get sick. I think you're going to see some changes coming from airlines and cruises, even more about that. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Hey, Philippe, good to see you, my friend. See, Del Boy. Hi, Mark. We hope you're well. I'm doing well. I'm going to Poznan, Wrocław in early October. Is there any place you recommend visiting those cities? Not off the top of my head. It's been probably 20 years since I've been to those. I'm going to guess things are a lot nicer now and been redone, because Poland got a lot of European Union redevelopment funds. And they did a really nice job. One, they built a really good highway system through Poland, because if you drove in Poland, even to the early 2000s, I mean, it was a pain. Like, there was no really good highways. You were digging back roads. Now it's all connected, so it's a lot easier to get around. So that's gonna be nice. I know they redid they restored a lot of the old towns there, so you'll have that. But like specific places, it's been too long because my information will be too old to actually help you out. So apologies. Brandon, tips for getting from Lima Airport into the city center, bus, taxi. You can just do taxi. What I would probably talk to your, I don't know where you're staying. I don't know the things. If you're going into Lima, I would honestly, if you're doing if you're doing any tours or anything, talk to your tour company about setting up a driver for you. Or just talk to your hotel, because most of the hotels have their favorite driver or drivers or a company they know, and they might hire it for you, because then you're less likely to get ripped off. If you're staying there, I mean, the Miraflores area of Lima is usually the better area to stay in when you're going to be there. The downtown's got a little bit more risque stuff. You want to be a little more heads up in the evening time, but something for there. Hey, Betty, good to see you on there. What insurance company do you use for overseas travel? So whenever I do my overseas travel, I usually just buy the insurance that comes along when I buy my flight, and that's usually through Allianz. I haven't had, or Alliance, depending how it's Allianz, is a German company. That's their German name. So Alliance, I think is what they call it in the U.S. I haven't had to use any of them, which has been very lucky. So I've been happy, but I haven't had to use any. Now, I know there's a lot of different ones. And here's one thing. Anybody looking to buy travel insurance, we have a don'ts of travel insurance video that you should watch that goes through a lot, because what you have to realize, there's trip insurance, there's travel medical insurance, there's kidnap and ransom insurance. Okay, you probably don't need that one. But there's different types. And a lot of times, depending on your credit card, sometimes when you buy with your credit card, it gives you some kind of insurance already. But if you're going to be going, like when the pandemic was going a lot, like I was making sure we had all the insurance possible in case we need to get evacuated back or something, because that's something to look into, especially for those of you that are traveling to the U.S. Now the U.S. is open again, because you get sick in the U.S. I mean, it could put you in a world of financial hurt. I mean, you think that tummy ache's bad, just wait till your wallet's after you have to pay the bill. So you want to pick those up, and that would be travel medical insurance, because trip insurance covers like your lost bags. That's kind of the ones that usually is kind of covered when you buy from the airlines. It's kind of like, oh, if there's any delays, if you need any clothes, if basic, $10,000 in medical stuff, when you're going abroad. That's why they always make you choose yes or no when you're buying your flights directly from the airlines to see if you want it or not, because they want to say, look, we gave you the opportunity. So there is that. If you're in the U.S. and you're over 65, Medicare and Medicaid does not cover any medical anything outside the U.S. So if you are, and Sue, I know you're not that. Don't worry, I'm not saying it because you Sue. But that's one thing I know that you really need to make sure you are buying supplementary insurance when you go, because if you are over a certain age, you will not be covered. So that is important to know. And the thing is you don't. It's not like if you didn't buy it the day you bought your tickets, you can't get it, because you can contact you can contact various ones. As long as it's before you leave, you can get some. Like I've gotten some. Our first big trip with COVID. We were flying across. We were going to Ireland, and I'm like, I got the basic stuff, but I just want to make sure. I want to make sure we got it. So I bought extra stuff. It was like 2 days out. I'm like, yeah, it's no problem. And so we have that. One thing you need to look at is you'll see. What is it like? There's one that's like travel nomads insurance. That's a very popular one. That's a one size fits all. There's other companies that 1G1. I've actually talked to them about working with them. They do customized plans for people like age, who's going, where you're going to go, what you might need, so I can help you out to get something that works better for you. So, hey Marie, good to see you. Oh, you're sitting here, Flores. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, then I would just do the taxi, because you're staying at a hostel. The hostel's not gonna set anything up for you, so you can do taxis when they're there. There's a taxi line outside, so it should be fine. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. Tim, where would you live if you could live anywhere? I don't know. There's always the stock answers like, oh, I live in Paris or Rome, or Vicenza with my friends. I'm pretty open to wherever. But I would probably go with France or Italy, just because I speak enough French or Italian that it would be an easier transition being there. I think those are probably ones that I would probably go for. So there's that. What else? I mean, there's Jocelyn's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool, like have like a little house or apartment in different places? Like for Jocelyn, I know for her, she'd want to live in Nicaragua and Paris, Bhutan, Rwanda. So she's got all kinds of little places she'd like to go. So that's kind of a fun one. Let's see what else. There's some other stuff I want to talk about in terms of the travel things. Oh, Lake Mead, where they're finding all the bodies that are floating up because the water levels come so far down. Yeah, you got to be careful. You're gonna have to be careful with. I know I talked about the cruise line, the riverboat cruises, but there's also other things that's going to be impacted by that, and so you need to think about that. Yeah, and when you're looking at your travels for next year, one of the things I've done a few interviews on this the last couple of weeks. I don't know when they'll come out, but a lot of people are talking like, with all the places over with so many tourists this year, what are some things to do to avoid that next year? And one thing I think is going to be interesting is when you had all those people coming out and traveling, in 2022, after 2 years or 3 years of not traveling, people were gung ho, and they weren't going to like a lot of the secondary places. Like, no, I want to get to Paris. I've never been. I'm going to get to Paris. I'm going to get to London. I'm going to get to Rome. I'm going to the Amalfi Coast, and they are packed. But when you started going to the secondary cities, like we were in Puglia in the south of Italy, I mean, there were tourists, but it was I would say it was probably less than there was in 2019. It was like, oh, you could walk up and get a restaurant, you could walk up to get a drink, and unlike Rome, where it's like, you want to eat today? You should have made a reservation last week. So that's something to think about. But one of the things I was talking to him was like, look, if you're going to be going to the secondary destination, and it sounds so bad saying secondary destinations, but you have destinations that aren't as popular, because you have the Romes, the Amalfi Coast, the Cinque Terres, the Florences. Move to places like Ravenna in Italy, the Puglia and Bari in Italy. Go to, instead of doing Paris, maybe you're hitting Bordeaux and Avignon instead of the French Riviera. Instead of Barcelona, you're going to Valencia or Granada. And Granada is pretty big too, but you're finding those secondary ones. That's going to make your life a little bit easier. with the tourist hordes. And also, I think you're more appreciated as a tourist when you go into second and third tier destinations, just because people are like, wow, what are you doing here? I'm like, well, it's a pretty place. Like going to Freiburg in Germany. Like every time we go to Freiburg, I have a bunch of Germany videos coming out in September for Oktoberfest. And we filmed them in Freiburg. And that was like my fifth time there. And every time we've gone, people were like, dude, why are you here? I'm like, it's a beautiful town. Yeah, like, yeah, but why are you here? I'm like, to film videos? Like, but no, why did you choose here? I'm like, it's a beautiful town with the little streams and everything, the road, and the food's good, and the people are nice. Like, yeah, but why here? Why aren't you in Berlin or Munich where tourists are supposed to be? People are like kind of really in awe when you go to these places. Like you're going to Lithuania or our friend in Tallinn. Like Tallinn's popular, but if you go to Parnu or you're going to Tartu, some of the other towns in Estonia, that people are like, we don't usually get tourists. So you're kind of like exotic. So you get treated, I find, sometimes even better. So something to think about. Let's see. All right, Philippe's going to, okay, getting from the airport in Hanya, Crete, and need to get to my friend's apartment at Aya Marina. It looks like there are taxis, but yeah, there are taxis. There was Ubers there. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. That's what's great about Greece is people are like, hey, I'm happy to help you out. Pay me the money. You'll be fine. So that's nice. Yeah, thank you, Sue. Colmar is a great town. Like, honestly, if you're looking for a really cute French town, it does get overrun at Christmas, like completely overrun at Christmas. But aside from that, the town is fantastic. And the thing is, it's a very popular weekend destination. So if you're there during the week, I mean, it's like empty. So you have this, like, it is the town that they base Beauty and the Beast Belle's town on in the cartoon version. Yeah, I remember I was filming. I'm looking down the street, I'm like, that's where Belle's house would have been. Like that. Like I totally see it. You have that. So I'm glad you like that one, Sue. Yes, that's actually what I have on my rail strikes right now. You have lots of disruptions in the UK right now. Um, so be aware if you're going to be going there. Also, the Heathrow, I think Heathrow and Gatwick both have their caps on number of flights for airlines. They're actually announced it's going to go through October. So if that's telling you, like if you're going to be flying through there, be prepared that you might have some changes to your flight. Also, don't don't check anything. I know for me, I fly out and I have like a 6 hour layover in Atlanta when I go to London. I'm like, perfect, because I'm going to gate check. I didn't want to gate check, but I know I know the plane we're on, it only can be brought up to our spot in Atlanta. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. Because honestly, it's the delayed packages, delayed bags are a really big issue. I was talking to a friend of mine, a colleague. She went to Germany for a couple of weeks this summer, and they didn't have their bags at all. Like they were there for 2 weeks. They had no bags. They got their bags 5 weeks after they left. It showed up back at their house back in the U.S. So there's that. Stuart's looking at Brno. Brno's actually kind of cool, and they redid the kind of part of the Old Town Center Square there, which is really nice. But you can go see mummies when you're there. Like they used to put the priests after they died down in this like their crypt kind of stuff, and however how the air was or airflow, it just mummified them. So that's kind of a cool thing to check out. Also, there's what's his name? Yves van der Rohe has a house there. You can go check out. So if you're looking for famous architects. So I mean, arriving at the Zurich airport, taking the train to Grindelwald. Any tips? Not off the top of my head. I mean, obviously, it's like anytime you take the train in Switzerland, I had it on our Don't to Switzerland video last week. He's like, don't stay on your phone. Like, because I'm going to guess you're going to be writing, you're going to be blogging for your trip. I would get a lot of your research done beforehand so you can get the views when you're going out, because those would be great pictures for you when you're going there. And I'm going to guess you'll be doing hiking when you're there. The right shoes are very important, and don't oversell or overthink I don't know your hiking ability. Like that's one of the big things the Swiss were really coming to me at. Like you got to tell people, be aware of their hiking ability. Hiking back home isn't like it is hiking here, which part of it's Swiss being Swiss and like being their superiority thing. But just be careful when you're. But it's not bad. Like a lot of people do it, young and old. So I don't. It's the same recommendation you have for any kind of hike kind of stuff. So make sure you have your water. Let people know where you're going to go. Have set times when you want to get back. Let your hostel or wherever you're going tell them what you're going to do. So there's that. Kathy Walters, any advice for Americans traveling in Quebec? Poutine. You want to have poutine. That's the French fries with the cheese curds and then the gravy on top. And Dad might like it. It has a little like bacon or pulled pork on top there. It's a must have when you're there. But honestly, in Quebec, because you're going in September, the weather could still be okay. So there could still be a lot of the doors open, like outdoor eating and stuff. That'll be nice. There's a lot of street performers that are there. And what you have is two levels in Quebec City, okay? So you got the upper city and the lower town. The lower town's, I think, has a little more of the European feel to it, I guess you'd say. They both do. But this one has more of an older European. This is more of a newer European, but still or the US feel. Canada feel, you have that. The stairwell going down, do be careful with that. If it's raining or whatever, like use those handrails when you're going down for it. And down has a lot of small restaurants you're gonna like. I know what you like. You'd like to go to and go in. So that's really nice. There is a fort you can go to, which when you walk past the kind of Quebec Capitol building where their parliament is, you go the provincial parliament. And you go up that way. There's a battlements up there you can check out, which was kind of interesting. The boys liked it. So that'd be something for you because I know you're there for like 4 or 5 days. So you got plenty of time to see all the stuff there. The zoo was nice there as well. That's farther out. So you can use ride shares there, no problem. I'd actually recommend that because driving down there, finding the parking is just such a pain that it's just easier to get rides in and out, even if it's not as super cheap. And Quebec City is not a cheap place to visit. So. Mary Ellen, I'm looking to carry on only to London in November. 3-week trip now. Rail strikes. Need to research another option to Southampton. That's one thing, Mary Ellen. You bring up a good point. It's always good to have a backup plan just in case. Because I'm going to guess by then, in November, you're probably going to be okay. But it's always good to know just in case. I mean, I know for me, I always have like my backup plans. That's why I have a video. The video that came out this week on Wednesday was. Like how to get from the airport to your hotel. I'm like, yeah, you start with asking your hotel what's the best way, and then you see what works. What works for you. Because sometimes, like I have a video this coming week is how to get from Charles de Gaulle into Paris, and the RER is great, but if you're not staying on the RER, you still got to get the metro and all these things. So sometimes it's just easier to take a taxi. So there's some stuff we talk about for that. Oh, there you go, Mom. Philip's got some words for you. So Benny is heading to Barcelona in March, and he hears I should avoid as a solo traveler. Not so much, Benny, because you're not going to be going to the places that you wouldn't want to be. I will say though, when you're on La Rambla, the big pedestrian street that goes down to the Columbus column, and in the Barrio Gothic, the Gothic neighborhood, that's where you really should pay attention with the pickpockets. I mean, I will stand on La Rambla and watch people pickpocket, and the cops will do nothing. They will do absolutely nothing to help you. Ask Kathy Walters; she'll let you know what they do. They laugh at you, so just be ready for that. Otherwise, you're pretty good. If you're looking at with La Rambla and Barrio Gotico is here, and then the other side is the other neighborhood, I would be a little more careful if you're going to be going out in the evening over on that side of La Rambla. Let's see. So, Sue, looking at airfare to Rome, is an hour-and-a-half layover doable for either Zurich and Munich? So, I would say 2 years ago, yes, that's doable. These days, I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore. Because all my flights get delayed by an hour and a half already to take off, and so I've already missed that, and they're putting me on my next flight. So, sorry, Sue. I love you, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know. Let's see. Did I miss any other questions? Pickpockets are okay everywhere. Also, watch out for the bird. Yeah, that's what got my parents. My mom got the, you got some bird poop on there. Let me help you. And she put her bag down, and they got her bag, which had her glasses in it, which kind of sucks because you can't read. Not fun. That's another thing. Let's talk about some ways you can help prepare yourself if you are going to be traveling and you're worried about getting stuff stolen. One thing I got to say is if you're going to travel, if you're really worried that you don't want to get stolen or taken, don't take it with you. Like Jocelyn's jewelry that she likes, we put it in the safe deposit box at the bank. when we go travel. We don't even leave it at the house. We put it's there. We don't have to worry about it. Because that's one of those things. You may think like, oh, I want to look my best. I want to have all my stuff. I want my bling. Bling makes you a target. Okay. And especially if you're going to a place like if you're going to Brazil or something, you got to be really careful. So that's why I'm like, look, if it's something you really don't want to lose, don't take. It's like when kids go to college, you're like, yeah, that might be your favorite toy or memory of home or whatever, but just know your jerk roommate is going to leave the door open to your dorm and someone's going to come in and swipe that. So just have that kind of mentality, and that kind of helps you as well with what you take, how much stuff you take. That might help out. Also, with some safety stuff, make sure before you go, take a picture of your vaccine card, both sides. Take a picture of your passport page, have that. But don't just save them on your phone. Save them in the cloud or send them to yourself in an email so you have it somewhere. Print off a couple of copies and leave it at home, or print out some copies, put it in your suitcase just so you have it just in case. Because like if your passport gets stolen, it's a lot easier for them if they have a copy of your old passport to get you new one. I mean, they can still get you new one, emergency one. That's okay, but that's going to make your life a lot easier if you have a scan version of it. That goes a long way too to help for replacement. Also, here's the thing: what people forget is people forget they're like, oh, if my credit cards get stolen, I'll just call the number on the back of the credit card. So make sure you have the numbers for your bank, for your credit cards, which ones it is. So if something does happen, you can call. Okay, so you have that, and that's actually kind of a list that's good to have anyway, just in case. Excuse me, just in case even if you're not traveling. So Stuart has a wallet with a chain that can attach to a pair of chains. Yeah, little things like that can help. Let's see. She's gonna give herself some more time. Yeah. Yes, clean the house prior to leaving. That is a good trip. We actually talked about that and some more things to do before you go on a trip, because if you come back to a dirty house and the house is a mess, like it just, you're already bummed out because your trip is over. Now you're bummed out because you have to clean the house as well. And you're like, ugh. And I'm not saying make it spick and span. You can, don't get me wrong. But having the dishes done or having the bed made, so when you come back home, it's like, I don't have to worry about that, really goes a long way. I remember I was dating this German girl, and we went to North Cyprus for a vacation. And we're gonna leave with planes. We gotta leave for the airport in a little while. And I'm like, hey, we should do the dishes. She's like, no, it'll be fine. And she just like fills up the sink with water. She's like, I'll just let them soak while we're gone. It'll be fine. We went for a week. Came back, no joke. There was a layer of mold across the top of the water and the stuff that's there. I mean, it was like you could pick it up like a napkin. It was so disgusting. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. So it says, I'm on a train right now near Toronto, and it's rough. How smooth are the trains in Europe? Significantly smoother than Canadian trains and US trains, I will tell you that. If you're on like the super fast trains, like the ICEs in Germany or the Eurostar going from London to Paris and there, or the TGVs in Paris, they are significantly smoother. Like we're talking like I can write no problem on them. Now, if you're taking regional trains, they might be a little bumpy, like the old school regional bonds. Those might be a little bit bumpier, but still, I would say that the worst like German train is still smoother than the best train I've been on in the U.S. sometimes. Okay, so you'll enjoy your train rides there a bit more. Thanks, Catherine. I'm just trying to figure out. Oh, for those of you who don't know, we're going to be doing Wednesday lunch hours here on Walter's World Shorts. We're going to talk about travel news, answer questions, and we're going to have a theme. And I think I'm not sure what I'm going to have this week's theme going to be, just because it might just be like overall avoiding the ugly travel stuff that I kind of alluded to here. But I want to put some more points together to kind of help out, to go through. Just to give people some things they might not realize some things they're doing. So hopefully that will be something that could be fun. Yeah, Betty, the credit card ones, because you're like, oh, I don't have that number. And if you say, oh, I got to call Visa, yeah, Visa's got 1,000 different, co-branded cards. And if you have multiple Visas as well, and you only took one with you, you might end up canceling the wrong one. So that's something there. So Megan, I have not been to Hawaii. We were supposed to go last year, and then one of our children tested positive, so we spent our Hawaii week in quarantine here. So I have not been, but when I was doing my research and everything, Maui was the place we wanted to go. That's where we're going to fly into. But I have not been personally, so I don't feel comfortable giving recommendations if I haven't been there personally. Sorry. Let's see. Brandon, tips for first time taking a long trip abroad. I'm 26 years old and going to South America for at least 3 months this fall. Peru, Bolivia, etc. Thanks for your inspiration and valuable videos. So this is a good one. One thing I would say, Brandon, when you're going to be doing backpacking through South America, it's buses, long, bumpy, back-breaking buses. And you will see multiple buses going to the same destination if it's long distance, and you will see a variety of prices. So if one, you're like, wow, that was only like $25, and that was $100, or this was $10, this was $30, you may think, oh, I'll just do the cheap one. Just know that sometimes those 10-hour bus rides, when you're on a school bus at $10 bouncing around, it's a lot different when you get like a lay down seat. So do check that out. Realize there will be some differences, especially if you're going to be doing some of the long ones, like like a Buenos Aires to Puerto Madryn to go see the whales. That could be like a 20-hour bus ride. So I will say that just get used to the bus system. Make sure you need to know some basic Spanish. And if you don't, you're going. When are you going? Learn a little bit of Spanish before you go because it will go a long way. Because English is not South America is not Europe when it comes to English. I will tell you that right there. But I will say that people are very friendly. You'll be set up. Peru won't be a problem because Peru has a huge tourism infrastructure. Bolivia will be a little more complicated, but still doable. Chile is okay with that. Ecuador's got great tourism infrastructure as well, so you'll be okay with that. Um, what else? Don't drink any tap water. Be careful when you have anything with this salad, because you could get sick. That's probably the most likely way you're going to get sick. Is the water stuff. So stick to the bottled water, or beer, or soda, or whatever. Inca Cola is always good. So just some things there. So, Catherine, what do you think about using your credit cards abroad and no cash? Seen as many places since COVID only accept card. Why would taking a risk in case cards are stolen? So, yes, this is one thing that COVID has changed. Credit cards are taken all over the place now. It wasn't like it was 2 or 3 years ago where there's still tons of just cash only places. Now there still are some cash only places, but there are some more now. It seems like there's more places that are just card only. It depends where you're going to go. Like Sweden, even before COVID, there's a lot of places that were card only. One thing you have to realize is your cash would get stolen too. If your car was get stolen, your card can get replaced. When I go on my trips, I will have like 300 euros with me, let's say, over my, let's say I go like I went with my mom for a couple of weeks. We were there. I had 300 euros in my wallet. But I used my card most of the time. I only spent like 150 euros just to have, but I had that cash just in case, because you never know when there's that taxi driver that's like, my machine's not working, or yeah, let's see, like you want to get something to eat, and that the bratwurst person is not taking credit cards. So you got to throw some money down that way. So I always have some cash. Don't think it's no cash, but I would like when I get in, if I don't have cash in the country I'm going to, if I'm going to see there, like if I'm going to be there a week or two, I'll take out a couple hundred or three back. Well, I know I'm going to come back to the country later. I'll get like $300 worth of stuff, like 300 euros, because I always don't go back to Europe. But like if I'm going to like China, I'll take out $200 worth of stuff and use that, because I'm like, most of the time I'm going to use my card. So just so I have some cash just in case. Water in Barcelona is safe. You'll be fine with water there. You'll see most people drink bottled water though, just because it's a big city and usually their water doesn't taste that great. That's why bottled water. That's why a lot of places like Germany, the water is totally fine, but everyone likes their bottled water just because of the taste. Like Berlin, it's got a lot. I think there's a lot of iron in there. And you're just like, you can taste it, and you're like, man, a bottled water tastes better. So something to think about with that one. All that water talk got me thirsty. Anyway, see, what other exciting things can I tell you all about? Let's see. Yeah, Philippe does the same thing. Majority of my purchase on the card, but I have $230 just in case. That said, for food, I like using cash to stick to a budget and keep track of it. Yeah, it's amazing how the credit card you kind of forget. Oh, I spent all that. Whoopsie. Yeah, that is one of those things. Oh. Brandon, thanks. I'll be doing a Spanish class for several weeks to start my trip to enhance my already basic Spanish further. That, Brandon, that's the best thing you can do because you're going to be there for 3 months, I think you said. That's the best thing you can do because that's going to get you back in the groove because you probably had some Spanish, basic Spanish before. It's going to come back. That's a really great thing to do. Like that is a one. You're going to be fine. That's going to make a big impact on your trip because you're going to be seeing a lot of people. Do the boys still enjoy traveling? No, Caleb does not like traveling anymore. He did not go with us to Italy this summer. He worked and went to summer school. So there's that. Liam still enjoys it, but he's young. So we're looking at different places. He's more into it right now. But also, when you're 16, do you really want to hang out for the summer with your parents, or do you hang out with your buddies? So there is that. See, Marie says Maui's wonderful. Stay 1 week in behind. Yeah, that's where we were going to go. Very good food. I agree. So what are some other things? Some upcoming trips on our end. Jocelyn's she's going to England, so she's going to be, I think, in Bath, Liverpool, London, a couple other places, and then she's going to Ireland for a few spots. And then I'm going to San Antonio, Texas for a little while. Then I go to England, and I'm going to be in London, York, and Manchester filming. And then where else? Then after that, Charleston, South Carolina. We have that. Savannah, Georgia. Another 2 different trips, but the same kind of area. And then we've got a Brazil trip. It's going to be around the first of the year. And then next year is when we have the ideas where we're going to go, but haven't got the tickets yet. So, Catherine, have you ever thought about teaching tourism instead of marketing? Think your class would be very popular? I've thought about it, but I like teaching the business side of things. And the tourism, I actually know because we have a tourism, recreation studies, leisure studies degree, and they don't ever take my classes, so I haven't done much in that area. Yes, Philip has a good point. It's hit with credit cards. In Canada, we have some credit cards with an extra 3% markup on foreign currency transactions. Yes, I'm sure the same thing exists. It does. That's why it's important. If you're going to be looking at your credit card, see who has international transaction fees, is what they're called. I know I use my Delta Platinum card that doesn't have it when I travel just to save that 3% because that 3% adds up and you're getting hotels for 2 weeks. 3% on that can really, really add up. And it is definitely worth considering. That's why some people like their Chase Sapphire, some of the Chase cards that don't have the markup, and they enjoy that better because it saves them some money. There are no plans for Asia right now. We will get there eventually. I know we had our Southeast Asia trip all planned out, and then we had a wedding in Brazil to go to. That will be something in the future, but it's not in the books for right now. I think for 2023, will be, if I don't go to Brazil before the end of the year, there'll be Brazil. Will definitely be in there. Galapagos Islands should be in there. I'm teaching in Europe for a month. And then there's hopefully Israel, Jordan, Ethiopia, Egypt. We're doing more Middle East, North Africa stuff, East Africa, kind of doing there for more of the new places for the summer coming up. And then next fall is when I don't know how things are going to go. So we'll see where we go for there. I know. Oh, then Philippe, one of the places we're looking at going for, we want to go to Winter Carnival in Quebec. So looking into that one now. South Korea, I'd have to ask my dad. My dad actually used to work there, but he never took us. So my mom and I are still bitter about that. He worked there for years and years and never took us. And only after he retired, he's like, you guys should have come with me. I'm like, yeah, we should have. So Megan says, in general, do you prefer hotels or vacation rentals? It depends. If it's just me, I'm about hotels. If I've got the family, I like vacation rentals. However, with all the insane fees and stupid things, like it feels like you have to clean the entire house. So why am I paying $500 cleaning fee for Airbnbs and stuff? I don't. Now with the family, it used to be if it was 3 days or more, we would get an apartment rental. Now it's like 4 days. We're like, maybe we'll get an apartment rental or might just get a hotel just because the price benefit that we used to get is not what it used to be for Airbnbs than what it used to be, because with all the additional fees on there. And I hope Airbnb and VRBO eventually will factor that in, because what sucks is you'll see your like, oh, the price for a stay, they'll give you a nightly rate, but then it's like, oh, but it's $300 cleaning fee. Well, if I'm staying 3 nights, it's not $150 a night, it's $250 a night. Like let's integrate that in there as well, so it's easier for people to see, because that's what you had with Ryanair and the cheap airlines in Europe are like, oh, €1 flights, and then you pay 54 euros for it. Yeah, you can't sell it for a euro price when you know that everyone has to pay taxes on it. So there is that. Hello, Derek. How are you? Anna Liz, pleasure to see you all. Enjoy your lunch. Manchester, I'll probably be there. If I'm gonna, it should be early October. So for that. So, Catherine, places that require vaccine, do you recommend taking them a month or two before the trip, or take them well in advance knowing they are valid for many years? I hate needles. Okay, so here's one of the things. If you're looking at the COVID vaccine, you're not officially vaccinated until it's either 2 or 4 weeks after your second shot. So it won't count as a true vaccine, a fully vaccinated thing. So, like for example, Jocelyn had to get a booster for her vaccine before she went to Greece, but since the booster was like a week or 10 days before her trip, they're like, it doesn't count. You still have to test to make sure you can come. So she had to do all that. So something to think about it. You guys love Carnival in Quebec City. Maybe I'll see. Yeah, it's just getting a place to stay is tough. So that's one of my things for this week, is to get that figured out for this year. So fingers crossed. Let's see. So Philippe was saying Bank of Nova Scotia, Passport, Infinite Visa, or their Platinum Amex. I have both. You get lounge access. Yeah. So that's one of those things you can look at. So, yeah. So I just thought I'd hop on and have a little chat. I wanted to talk about the dudes surfing down the Grand Canal. Just, please don't do that. Please don't do stuff that you're like, your mom would shake her head at you. It's not worth the gram. You got a $1,500 fine, €50 fine. You do it again. I mean, remember those the YouTuber guys that were like sneaking off into Yellowstone to get pictures and do crazy things? I'm like, you could have died, dude. Like, so don't mess around with stuff. So be careful. I just want to hop on here. I think this is one thing I like with the Waltz Road Shorts. I can just hop on, do little lives and little chats and do that. But just so you know, Wednesdays at noon Chicago time, I'm going to try to make it a weekly thing where I just have an hour travel chat where we have a theme for the day. So I'll go through some travel news at the beginning, and then we'll go through our theme, and then we'll do questions. Most likely questions will pop up throughout, but kind of do that just for like a little hour get together here on the Walter Road Shorts channel, because I'm just trying to figure out what to really make with this channel, because the shorts are fun to make, but there's also other stuff people want to have, because I know sometimes people are like 20 seconds, that's it. So hopefully it can help. Any trick on getting a whole row on an airplane by yourself? Fly like in middle of January and across to Europe, but no one's going. That can be helpful. So anyway, okay, I'm going to let you all go. Thank you for hopping on. I'll see you either on Wednesday or some other lives. Love y'all. Thanks for everything. Happy travels, everybody. Bye.